When you think of South Florida, undoubtedly, probably the first thing that you think of is probably Miami. But there's actually two other cities here in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale and West Palm, which might be better than living in Miami. Well, one's going to become the next Wall Street of the South and possibly the most important county in the entire country. The other one is a laid-back boating community with tons of energy, plenty to do, and great proximity to everything. But at the end of the day, which one is the best one for you and your family? Don't worry, because in this video, we're gonna break down everything that you need to know between living in Fort Lauderdale and West Palm, including things like the location, things to do, the lifestyle, the overall vibe and feel, obviously the real estate and the developments going on in both cities, and which one's really the future of South Florida. But before we do that, all I ask is that if you or anyone you know are looking to buy, sell, or even invest here in Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, or South Florida in general, my team and I would love to be a real estate resource of choice. We've helped hundreds of families just like you make the move down here to South Florida, get a vacation home, and unfortunately some to even actually leave the area. So whatever we can do to help you, please let us know. You can call us, email, text us, whatever's easiest for you. We got you, but now let's jump into it. What's the differences between Fort Lauderdale and West Palm? For starters, I think we have to talk about the location. So we'll start off with Fort Lauderdale. Honestly, I think Fort Lauderdale is in a much better location, especially when you think about it. Fort Lauderdale's smack dab in the middle between both that of West Palm and Miami. You're right there on the water. You also have the beach as well. So you have great proximity to everything. Not to mention you have the tri-rail and the Brightline to easily get around South Florida. So you can be down to the Miami Heat Arena in about 30-ish minutes. You can be up to West Palm in about 45-ish minutes via the train, or even go all the way to Orlando. Now, granted, you also have the tri-rail, which is a little bit cheaper, but most people are actually taking the Brightline. In terms of other ways to get around, you also have the Fort Lauderdale International Airport right there, which is a much bigger airport than that of Palm Beach International. However, I will give it to Palm Beach International. It is growing. Now, in terms of other things with the location, you can easily get out west. You have great proximity to 595, 95, the Turnpike, and even 75 out west. But what about Palm Beach and West Palm? So West Palm does have a great location as well, but it's on the northern end. If you want to go to Miami, you're an easy hour-and-a-half ride down if you don't even take the Brightline. Driving wise, it's quite a drive. But you are having great access to things like that at Palm Beach Gardens, Jupiter, maybe even head up north to Port St. Lucie and Stewart. You're also right there on the water as well, so boating is a huge way of life in both. And you do have great access to the beach. You can head right across the bridge to Palm Beach. You can head north into the Juno Beach area. You also have Riviera Beach, head south into Lake Worth. You're still not too far from both Del Rey and Boca either. Now, when it comes to the location, another thing I think we need to talk about is that both of them are on the water. So obviously boating is a huge way of life in both communities, in both cities. Where it really differs is the kind of boating and things to do. So in Fort Lauderdale, it's nicknamed the Venice of America. There's a ton of inland waterways and canals, over 300 miles actually, to go and explore, plus the intercoastal and a great sandbar just north of the 17th Street Bridge. Well, it's also the yachting capital of the world. Meanwhile, in West Palm, I will say the canals and the intercoastal is much wider. You'll see that, like Fort Lauderdale, and even as you get down to Miami, is a lot more narrow. In West Palm, it's massive. Plus, you also have Peanut Island right there, which by far might be the best sandbar in the entire South Florida area. The only one that could maybe rival it is that of Lake Boca, but it's still nowhere near the same. On top of that, you also have the Jupiter Inlet if you head a little bit further north. There's also the Lake Worth Inlet, the Boyd Beach Inlet. Fort Lauderdale, you have Port Everglades and the cruise ships, which technically West Palm doesn't have. So if you're a big cruise person, you have that. But we also have the Boca Inlet and the Lighthouse Point Inlet. And if you're a big Lake Boca fan when it comes to boating, Fort Lauderdale might be the place for you because it is a little bit closer. However, it really just depends. Now, speaking of boating, let's talk about the things to do and the overall vibe and the atmosphere of both. So obviously boating's pretty much the cream of the crop in both cities when it comes to things to do. I know you'll be shocked to hear that people who actually live in both these cities and South Florida in general don't really go to the beach, because why would I go to the beach when I can go in a boat, go to a sandbar? At least that's my personal opinion. Now, I know plenty of people who do go to the beach, but it's just not as much as you would really think. You're thinking, hey, I'm gonna move to Fort Lauderdale or West Palm, I'm gonna go to the beach every day. It just doesn't happen. Now, you do have some great beach access in both. So for example, Fort Lauderdale has everything from like the Hollywood Beach and the Broadwalk, Dania Beach, Fort Lauderdale Beach, Lauderdale by the Sea for that small city atmosphere or small beach town atmosphere, and even Pompano Beach with the redone pier and everything. Meanwhile, in the West Palm area, you can go right across the bridge to Palm Beach and have that luxurious type feel to the beach, nowhere near as commercialized as the Fort Lauderdale area. You also have places like Juno Beach, you can head south into Lake Worth, maybe even go a little bit further south into both Delray and Boca. Now, in terms of other things to do, I will say there's plenty of shopping and dining options in both cities. So for example, Fort Lauderdale's in the true Fort Lauderdale area is really known for Las Olas with the upscale dining, shopping, and even a little bit of nightlife options. You can get everything from tapas, there's a wine bar, there's plenty of different places to go to happy hour, even a nice dinner out for date night. Now, there's the same thing in West Palm with Clematis. Now, I will say it's probably not on the same level yet as that of Fort Lauderdale when it comes to nightlife options. However, the food options are just as good with plenty of great options coming. On top of that, there's also city place as well. Now, on the shopping side of things, it's more boutique shopping in the Fort Lauderdale area, around that Las Olas area, but there's also the Galleria Mall. We're also not too far from both the Sawgrass Mills Mall and the Aventura Mall as well. And if you're really feeling it, you can head north into Boca and go to Boca Town Center. Now, on the flip side of things, in West Palm, they do have City Place with some upscale shopping options, and it's a great overall area. Plus, there's some great malls nearby, especially that of the Palm Beach Gardens Mall. Now, in terms of the overall vibe and the atmosphere, this is where it starts to really differ quite a bit, and this is gonna help you make a decision most likely. I mean, it helped me. When it comes to the overall energy, I will say it goes like this. Miami, absolute 24/7 energy, constant things to do. Step down from there, you have Fort Lauderdale, which has a laid back type vibe to it, a boating scene, a little bit more casual, but still plenty of energy, plenty of things to do, still a ton of nightlife activities, but not constant 24/7 clubbing. Then down from there, we have West Palm, which is more of a refined luxury type feel, not a ton of energy, but you can still feel the bustlingness of it, but it's just not on the same level as the other cities. There is some nightlife options and plenty of different things to do. However, it's a little bit more quiet of an overall city. There are some developments coming, new rooftop bars, new bars coming, but if you're really about the nightlife aspect of things, West Palm might not be the city for you. Now, I will say one way to really think about it, and I was actually talking with a client the other day about this, is downtown West Palm really does feel like a true big city or a bigger city. Nothing like that of New York City. A ton of skyscrapers. You have the office buildings, things like that. They're even bringing a brand new Cleveland Clinic, which if you don't know, is one of the top hospitals, not only South Florida, but also the entire state. And it'll be the first hospital coming to the downtown West Palm area in over a century. So there's a lot of development going on that side, which we're gonna talk about in a second, but there's a lot of different high rises. Meanwhile, Fort Lauderdale, we have some high rises, but it's really one strip. It's not like that of Miami or West Palm where it's like a true, you can see all the buildings and the skyline. Now there's developments happening and they're trying to change things, but pretty much it's really only along Las Olas. So if that's the feel you're going for, downtown West Palm definitely beats Fort Lauderdale on that aspect. Meanwhile, you can live near downtown Fort Lauderdale in a single family house or a townhome and really just walk to everything. Well, you really can't do that in West Palm. And we'll talk about the real estate here in a second. But now I think one of the most important things that we kind of need to talk about from there are the developments happening in both cities. Now, when it comes to the developments, let's start with West Palm because I'm probably a little bit more excited about theirs. So there's a billionaire developer and owner of the Miami Dolphins and Miami's F1 team named Stephen Ross, who recently went before the county commission and said that he envisions Palm Beach County becoming the most important county in the entire country and wants to overtake that of Silicon Valley. And I mean, if you've seen some of the projects that he's worked on and developed, not only here in South Florida, but also in New York, you would be very bullish on it too. And there is a ton of development happening on the office space side of things, on the residential side of things, and a complete transformation in the city of West Palm. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was growing up in middle school and high school, you're like, oh, we're going to West Palm. Like, there's nothing to do there. Like, what the hell are we gonna do? But now with the Brightline station being there, the city place being developed, the office buildings, and some of these brand new luxury condos coming, it's like, holy crap, you can see everything happening. Plus, you're in a clutch location directly across the bridge from Palm Beach. So in terms of luxury condos coming to the downtown West Palm area, we have some amazing projects like that of South Flagler House, which Stephen Ross is developing himself with his new company, Related Ross. We have the Ritz-Carlton Residences West Palm, Ritz-Carlton Palm Beach Gardens, the Mr. C Residences, and even the Berkeley just to name a few of the projects coming to the downtown West Palm area. And you can start to really see a huge transformation in not only the skyline, but also the overall feel in downtown West Palm. It's really trying to become the Wall Street of the South, in which Stephen Ross really wants to envision and move here. I know a lot of people think when Wall Street of the South, they're probably thinking of Brickell. But if he's able to move everything out of Brickell into West Palm, or even just some of it and some of the stuff down from New York into the West Palm Beach area, you will see an absolute boom. Now, on the flip side of things with Fort Lauderdale, I'm extremely bullish on it too. I mean, there's a reason that I live in Fort Lauderdale. There's a ton of stuff happening here, and it's going to completely transform the skyline. Now, meanwhile, we don't have a ton of office space coming as of yet. There's some projects like that of the one in Searstown, and another project happening in the Flagler Village area as well. There's more of a push towards some of these luxury residential condo buildings because that's something that we've lacked for quite some time. Now, yes, we do have some nice ones along the beach, but they're more of a condotel aspect of things. There really wasn't a building in the downtown Fort Lauderdale area around Las Olas yet. Now we have some great ones coming, and even one that has just been completed. So we do have the Pier 66 residences right off of 17th Street, which is completely transformed and really helped the boom in the Fort Lauderdale area. So we have that project, which has been completed or being finished up right now. They still have a couple sales left. Then we get into Andare, which hasn't broken ground yet, but it'll be a brand new luxury condo right there in Las Olas. We have everything happening in the Flagler Village area, which is absolutely booming, between the Searstown project, another commercial project that's happening down the street. We have on Bell, which is a luxury condo coming. We have the Nativo residences right down the street. And we also have the Viceroy residences right there with all that downtown area. Now, if we go out to the beach side of things, we also have the new St. Regis Bahia Mar, which is going to become a mini Monaco here within the Fort Lauderdale area. So as you can see, a lot of different developments happening, and people are extremely bullish on the Fort Lauderdale and the West Palm area. But ultimately, it really just depends on which lifestyle is a little bit better for you and your family. So now let's talk about, what about the real estate market in general? What are we looking like? Now, when it comes to the real estate side of things, this is where they really do start to differ, and you can maybe see some value when it comes to West Palm. So in terms of our median price points, the median sales price across all property types, so that's condos, townhomes, and single family homes, in West Palm is only $450,000. Seems like a steal, right? Meanwhile, in Fort Lauderdale, for those same three property types, our median sales price is $630,000. Now, I will say, if you want to live on the water, there's not a ton of options if you want to live in the true West Palm area. Now, if you want to go to Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, or just be in Palm Beach County in general, yeah, there's a ton of excellent options, especially for boaters. Personally, I'd pick Jupiter, but that's just between you and I. Now, when it comes to Fort Lauderdale and single family homes on the water, our median sales price is right around $3 million. However, you don't want to live in that true Fort Lauderdale area. A lot of people actually opt to live in Pompano, maybe even Lighthouse Point. Meanwhile, Lighthouse Point is starting to get up there in price, very similar, if not more expensive than Fort Lauderdale. However, Pompano, there's some deals to be found. Right now, the median sales price for a single family home on the water, Pompano is right around $1.5 million to close to $2 million. So that's $1 million savings right off the bat. However, there are fixed bridges, so that's something to keep in mind. So if you have questions on any neighborhoods, things like that, we could definitely help you out on that side of things. But in terms of West Palm, what they do have that Fort Lauderdale really doesn't have is more on that luxury condo side of things. And you're gonna be right around $1 million to upwards of $50 million before even any of these new development condos are built. And honestly, at the end of the day, I personally think Fort Lauderdale is just a little bit better. I like the energy of it. I like the proximity to everything, while also being able to enjoy a lot of the similarities of West Palm. However, I could understand wanting to live in West Palm. You want to see all the development happen. You like a little bit more quiet, and you like the little bit more luxurious feel, and you might not want to live in the Boca area. I think that's kind of comparable. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Which better, for living in Fort Lauderdale or living in West Palm? And if you're thinking about living in either one of these cities, or you just have questions on them, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can call us, email, text us, whatever's easiest for you, we got you.